Fabian Picardo said the main reasons for the government overspending in the last financial year were the impact of the Omicron variant on the health service and the increased cost of fuel for the power station. Mr. Picardo said the leader of the opposition has not himself declared which of those two things he would not have spent money on. Of the COVID recovery charge of £25 a week for all companies, he said the government's support for businesses during the pandemic benefited everyone, even those who didn't take beat payments or even vaccines. Notwithstanding that, Mr. Picardo said he was prepared to hear representations from the Chamber of Commerce and the Federation of Small Businesses on stratifying that charge so that smaller businesses paid less and larger businesses more. Mr. Picardo said the leader of the opposition had called him a highwayman. He said a highwayman is a thief, and if Mr. Asopardi actually believes any government minister has stolen anything, he should call the police immediately. Something he said would not happen, because he said Mr. Asopardi cannot substantiate what he says was a disgusting new law which disrespects Mr. Picardo himself, the office of the Chief Minister, and Gibraltar. Mr. Picardo said, if anything, he was Robin Hood, not a highwayman. He said his budget measures protect vulnerable people in Gibraltar and tax higher earners more, while the Shadow Minister for Public Finances, Roy Clinton, had stoked fear with his erroneous analysis, dismissing as utter nonsense the idea that the budget book does not represent truly the state of affairs of public finances. He said the main item of recurrent expenditure was public sector pay, suggesting that were Mr. Clinton in government, he would cut government jobs and public services. Moving on to Daniel Feetham, he said he had wanted to pull the wool over the eyes of the public on the structuring of public debt. Responding to Elliot Phillips's speech, he said there was no question of the government cutting life-saving medicine. He dismissed Mr. Phillips' claim as utterly ridiculous. The Chief Minister said Damon Bocino would not fly the pride flag over Number 6 if in government, and wouldn't attract the pink pound either. Of Edwin Reyes, Mr. Picardo said his claim that the government should have funded a new theatre from taxpayers' money, as people are entitled to culture, was a reminder that it was the GSD who brought about the culture of entitlement. He said he had avoided insults in his speech last week, but today was going to give as good as he got. On what spending they would have cut, Mr. Picardo said that the GSD opposition were more quiet than a prostitute, as he said the Spanish saying goes. He said all the GSD had was mud, debt and fears, but the GSLP-Liberals would continue to work hard, blood, sweat and tears, to build a bridge to repair public finances. He said in indicating that they would not vote for the budget, the GSD opposition is voting for public servants not to be paid and for public services to be defunded. He said this would not happen thanks to the GSLP-Liberals. Parliament adjourned till tomorrow morning to allow Sir Joe Bossano to do his Day 6 test to see if he's now COVID negative, which would allow him to be present for the committee stage's review of the estimates book.